If you've been keeping up with the current and upcoming gacha games, you've probably noticed that there's this disappearance of femboy characters, or maybe just a lack thereof. It's not that there was a lot of femboy characters in the first place, but we would periodically get a few from somewhere. And now, despite there being quite a lot of options like Genshin, we don't really see them at all, I guess. If you are familiar with Venti, you know he's one of the most popular femboy characters out there. He was the first rated banner character in Genshin and also holds a pretty important role in the story. I know of many people who started Genshin entirely because they found out Venti is a playable character in that game, one of them being me, of course. Let's also not forget the main character, Ether, is very much a femboy too. Genshin did really well when it came out with these character design choices. Granted, it was also the COVID era then, so a lot of things were in their favor, but they still did tremendously good, you know. They managed to appeal to such a wide audience, and I think the flamboyantly designed male characters played a good role in it too. Genshin still went on to have a few more femboy characters as well, but we did not really see this repeat or reciprocate in Hoyo's other two popular games, Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero. Star Rail's Kalas has a pretty generic male NC design. I don't particularly dislike him, it's just that he appears unappealing and boring to me. Still, on the other hand though, then we have Wise from ZZZ, who I initially thought looked a lot like Kalas. I found his design to be even more boring compared to Kalas, honestly. And when you pair him up with Belle, the female MC, and his sister, his design is just so bland and boring it hurts. No offense to anyone who likes them though, you can have your preferences. Looking outside of Hoyo, no other Genshin competitors actually tried this either. Wuthering Waves followed the same generic/typical MC design patterns from the industry. The male is a boring suited up character, and the female is extra slutty. Okay, at this point I realized I can't get into all the games. Some of them have reached a dire state where they don't release male characters on a regular basis anymore, Wuba included. But I still wanted to point out some other upcoming games, just so you get an idea. Wuthering Waves, no femboys, only 2 to 3 pretty boys. There's a short boy model, but it's only used by Ling Yang, and there's probably no chances they ever use that model after how they treated Ling Yang. Ananta, no femboys, no pretty boys, very generic male designs. Neverness to Everness or NTE, no femboys, but there is a short boy model, Edgar, so there's a very slight chance they could down the road. Opium. Duet Night Abyss. It's not a gacha anymore, but I'm still including this because of this slight players overlap. It has some genuinely good designs for the male cast actually, but no femboys unless you count this guy. Silver Palace, no femboys. But there is a pretty newsboy shown in the trailer, but he's immediately shown to have burnt your crisp. I don't know if it was intentionally done to burn our hopes and dreams of having him as a playable character, but he was awful nonetheless, almost disrespectful I would say. But after seeing the latest trailer they put out, there's a chance it was all a dream. Regardless, no femboys as of yet. Arknights Endfield. As of the time of making this, I found out there is a 6th male character who uses the short boy model, lifeng, and I could see him being mistaken for a girl by some people because I initially did. Counting him, that's one we have found so far. That's all I'll touch for now. It's entirely possible I may have missed someone or some game that you feel I should have mentioned. Do let me know in the comments. So, what's going on? Why is it that after an iconic character like Venti, no other gacha games tried to replicate him? How come no other games saw the potential of femboy and pretty boy characters? This was meant to be a question I asked the devs so they can tell me why, but obviously I can't do that and I'm not expecting them to reply to an email asking where the femboys are. As such, I have tried to answer the question myself, for myself and you, the viewer. First point that comes to my mind is obviously audience and catering. Femboys are quite a niche, but it's a niche that's hard to pinpoint. There's this intersection among both the male preferring and female preferring players who would be happy with a femboy character, but these people would also be happy with just the usual male and female characters as well. The portion that only wants femboys, however, is likely so small that the devs are willing to gloss over. Adding in the second point that a femboy character that appeals properly would likely be much more difficult to develop compared to the usual designs you see out there. You have to think think about what actually makes them femme, how they and the other characters work around that, how they fit in the world, etc, etc. Devs would pass on just to make things easier during development and other stuff. Third point is probably the more legal and societal issues. We have heard of instances where people kept saying China bans femboys and stuff like that. People making a fuss about venti and Xingqiu's designs. And overall, the whole world lately has been leaning a lot towards conservativeness. It is possible the devs want to play safer with their designs now due to all these problems, hence so you not see anything as interesting as femboys nowadays. I understand that it's risky, but I think we've seen plenty of risky designs as of late, so I don't necessarily think it's just that. It's also entirely possible the devs simply did not want to appeal to that audience that likes femboys. Maybe their passions and interests did not align, and that's fair, I guess. Or maybe they're just ignorant about it and don't really care. Things did take a turn in Genshin 2, by the way, especially during that period. There were only like 4 males released, 2 of them done really dirty. My interest in the game was at an all-time low. It was the lowest it ever got since the game's release. Very clearly, the devs tried to experiment with going back to their roots with a larger female cast, and it did not exactly work out with the existing diverse audience Genshin had built up. It only alienated them. I've only recently started returning properly due to Duet's banner, and there's another pretty boy, Iluka, coming up. It gave me a little hope, but I'm still bummed that we're not seeing new femboys. I can only hope that eventually we'll see a few. Or maybe somewhere out there, some dev is making that game made to appeal to us male character fans, the femboy wonders and the husband lovers. I know some people could be like, femboys are meant to be very rare, like there's some super special Pokemon type. I honestly don't vibe with that, sorry. I want it to be more of us visibly.